What's up, guys? I'm Laura from Reading in Bed, and I'm coming to you today from Henry's bedroom because the options for natural light without kids who are being loud are very limited right now. And yeah, I haven't been doing so well with the daily videos thing, as you know, a few of you may have noticed. And there's a couple of reasons for that, so I wanted to talk about that first, get the whining out of the way, because I'm probably going to be pretty whiny. And then let's catch up on the last few days worth of short story advent calendars, because I have still been reading. So yeah, with the daily videos, I mean, the first thing, which I have already talked about a bit, is that the filming just doesn't fit into my daily schedule anymore. My schedule changed. My husband got a new job. So it no longer makes sense for me to film it in the morning with the kids, which, not only allowed me to get it out of the way, to do it with fresh makeup that I had already put on anyways, and allowed, I think, like, some humor and fun to be in it, as the kids would always have kind of silly comments and stuff. Now, the only time that really makes sense for me on weekdays is right after I get home, which means I've just had a full day of work and I've just picked up the kids from school. That is like the busiest, most chaotic time of the day. I have to cook supper. I have to make sure, if the kids are going somewhere that evening, that's taken care of. I'm looking for homework. I'm making sure they brought stuff home that they were supposed to. Like, all of that is going on. Usually my makeup is not looking its best at that point in the day, and the last thing I want to do is this. So that's part of why it hasn't been happening. Another part has been, as some of you know, I'm preparing to take a major step back from the internet and social media in general. I've been sort of slowly phasing out. So now at this point, we're on December 16th, I've logged out of Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and come the 21st, this coming Friday, I'm gonna be taking a complete 2 weeks off of the internet, like 100%, if possible, and then I'm gonna be off social media for like a further at least 3 months. I just posted on my blog yesterday, actually, what all my plans are. Yes, I know it's ironic to post about that on your blog, whatever, but if you're interested in the details, you can go read it. So I'm finding, like, as I step away from social media, the whole process of, like, even filming these videos becomes sort of surreal and bizarre. Like, just the performative aspect of it, the whole, like, staring at yourself in a phone and watching your own face as you're saying things. Like, these things always seem weird to me. I think I'm too old to ever find it completely normal, because I didn't grow up with a phone in my face and talking into my phone and all of that. So it always seems weird, but the farther away I get from, like, posting things on different social media channels and seeing other people doing the same thing, it just becomes like a bit of a bizarre exercise and feels very performative. So there have been a couple times in the last few days that I did start making a video, but then just sort of had an existential crisis in the middle of it and was like, what am I doing? And stopped. Yeah, so that's the thing. I think I'm just finding the whole, performance and, what I and others have described as, like, the whole public reader thing to just be kind of weird. And finally, for the whining portion, and I know this is not unique to me, it's a thing across all different types of YouTube channels, but particularly when I'm posting these daily videos, what I find is I'll post the video. Within 2 minutes, I lose a follower. And then usually over the next few hours, I'll lose like 1 or 2 more. And I'm not gaining followers from this. I think what I'm doing with the short story advent calendar is very niche, so that's to be expected. I don't have high production value, so when people are seeing my, like, graphic designed or produced thumbnails every day, they're probably like, what is this lady doing? And I get it, but it's very discouraging, I guess. For me, making daily or almost daily videos is a lot of effort, even though I don't really do editing. So to, like, post videos, know I'm gonna lose at least 1, if not 2 or 3 or 4 followers or subscribers every time I do. And each subsequent video also seems to get fewer and fewer views. Again, like, I know no one cares. And normally I'm not someone who follows statistics with that amount of granularity. It's just when you're posting daily, you're sort of forced to, like, you're just there, so you look. Yeah, and I've heard other people talk about this. I know it's a thing. I know people with large followings lose like large amounts of subscribers every time they post a video, often within the first couple of minutes. They also get, you know, thumbs down. I don't even get those. So, but I think just combined with the other things, with the fact that it doesn't fit nicely into my life and that I'm taking big steps back from most other aspects of the internet, it's just become sort of a bit stagnant. So, yeah, and I mean, there's the fact too that I will not be finishing this vlogmas project because when I walk out the door at the office on Friday, December 21st, I'm shutting down the internet for me for 2 weeks. So, like, I won't be posting the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, unless I try to do like a roundup on the 21st, which I may do, but like, yeah, I don't know. So anyways, you know, like, who cares? Yeah, I know. So let's get into catching up with some of the stories, because there were some that I liked in this batch. So I think we left off with number 11, and I haven't talked about 12, 13, 14, or 15. So very quickly, story number 12 was called A Clean Break by Danielle Lazarin. So this was another story with lots of footnotes and letters. So, you know, I kind of like that epistolary type of structure, although I find, like, I did like this story when I read it, but even a couple of days later, it wasn't, like, super memorable to me. It's kind of about a Jewish family and sort of the generational trauma. There were Holocaust survivors in the family. There were parents who abandoned their children. And let's appreciate the design too, because a couple letters actually play a big role, and so they've used the triangle motif to create an envelope. So this was sort of, for me, this was good, but probably won't be in my like top stories of the calendar, but I can appreciate it. So that was number 12. Number 13. It's another one where I'll talk about the design in a sec. So this is Every One of My Answers Was a Disappointment by Doretta Lau. I really like this one, and it really snuck up on me too. It's just sort of the story of a recently divorced 40-ish woman kind of finding new love in an unexpected place, hanging out with people who are a lot younger than her, getting back into sort of a party scene. But then at the end, it takes a very sharp turn into sort of a very like fantasy kind of thing. Like with ghosts and stuff, and that's foreshadowed in the very first line. It says, "One cold day in June a few years ago, before I learned that ghosts are real without a doubt, and that there are so many different kinds of grief, I flew from Vancouver to Toronto." So yeah, I mean, that it is about grief and new beginnings and all that stuff. And when it took that turn at the end, I thought it was really well done. I really liked it. It actually, like, it made me cry. This is one of the videos that I started but didn't finish. I was doing it as a, like, not having my face on the screen because I just cried. And yeah, I got interrupted and then just didn't finish it. So this one, I just wanted to talk quickly about the design, because at first I was like, well, like, it's just an X, it's just kind of a bunch of triangles. That doesn't make any sense. But after a minute or two, I realized that it's an hourglass, because, you know, we're talking about a woman who's a biological clock and, you know, whatever. So that's what I think the design is trying to tell us. So 13, I think this one will be a favorite, and I believe that Doretta Lau had a previous story in the calendar as well. So that brings us to 14. 14 is Will Evans Save the World by Ben Greenman. Now, this is a story, so the only other person really doing these daily videos this year is Anne Logan, that I know of. I know a couple of other booktubers have the calendar, but I don't think they're doing daily videos. Anyways, Anne really hated this, and I kind of did too. This is the second story in the calendar that had a very cyclical kind of structure, with things that are repeated and kind of going in a loop. The other was the one with Odysseus. This is much more contemporary. It's not based on a myth, unless I really missed the boat, which is possible. This one is very odd, and the way Anne described it I really liked. She said, this is a writer writing for other writers to show how clever they are, and I totally agree, and I also get very frustrated with that, because I don't care, you know, unless there's something really new and like creative and experimental that's gonna blow my mind. I just don't care. There's not enough of a story or anything else here to carry that, I didn't think. So That was 14. Now 15 I actually haven't read, so I am a day behind at this point. Today's December 16th. But 15 is Snatching Bodies by Rodrigo Frizan. Translated from the Spanish by Will Vanderheiden. So this is our second story in translation, which I'm very excited to see, as I've really focused on translations this year. It's also, you know, a short story that has a epigram or epigraph, I never remember which, and it's a longer one, 20 pages. And I love that we have like very long bios for this one. Often the bios in here are really short. So this story originally appeared on 3% quite a while ago, 2007. So I will hopefully read this one today. It's my older son's, well, his 9th birthday is tomorrow, but we're having the party today, so like, we'll see. Might be tonight before I get to this. The design puts me in mind of like a fast forward button, so we'll see. And since we're here, why don't we check in with December 16th, which I'm actually not spoiled for. A lot of the time I am getting spoiled just because I'm not like looking at the stories until so late in the day, but it's still the morning. So here's number 16. So we've got kind of a different design, like just a lot of gray in the single triangles. So let's crack it open. And here we go. So this is Two Stories Containing a Mouse, or Variations on Bad Love by Maria Much. Maria Much is the author of the memoir Know the Night, which was the Governor General's Literary Awards finalist. She's got to be Canadian. And the short story collection When We Were Birds. Oh, birds. That might sound familiar. I'm not sure. This story originally appeared in what looks like a literary journal, Necessary Fiction. It's a shorter one. At 11 pages. So I'll just read the very first part since the kids appear to still be occupied. So this is actually two stories. So the first one is called Rubies. Two things I have noticed. If you place a bowl on a shelf, even high up, and what you imagine to be out of the way, it will eventually contain something. A desiccated spider, a moth, a bleached ladybug. The other is that the skin receives the cat's claws as though expecting them. The strikes barely show. Okay, interesting. I've currently got a scratch on my hand from my cat, so I don't think that my skin receives my cat's claws as though expecting them, so I don't really know what that is supposed to mean. I guess I'll find out. So these two I will be throwing in my purse today to take with me to the, I don't even know what you call it. It's like a Nerf battle kind of facility. It's called Foam Fighters. That's where we're having the party. And maybe I'll get through one or both. We'll see. Tomorrow we're back to, it's my last week at work, the kids' last week at school before the holidays. So again, I'll be trying to fit these in at weird times of the day, but hopefully I'll keep up with it for the next 5 days before I sign off from the internet for quite a while. In the meantime, thanks for watching.